Hello, I hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to work on adding with negative numbers. When we're adding and subtracting integers, there are a few things we can do to help us see what we're doing. So we can use a number line, like I've got here, or we could also use counters. And I've got these two-sided counters. If you like this method, if you don't have counters like that at home, maybe you could cut out some little pieces of paper and color one side or mark one side, or you could use coins because, like, a penny's got a head and a tail, and that's two different sides. Um, so when we're adding two positive numbers, that's something we're used to doing. We will start with our first number and then move over however many spaces on our number line. So if we had 3 plus 2, for example, we would start at the 3 and we're moving in the positive direction. So we would move over 1, 2 spots and end with 5. And when we're looking at a number line, we should notice that everything kind of mirrors from the 0. So we go up from the 0, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we go down from the 0. The numbers are getting smaller in the negatives. But the smaller the negative is, the bigger it looks. So we're going -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, and so on. So we're used to adding with positive numbers. And then just to show what that would look like with counters, I'm going to say the yellow is my positive and the red is negative because we tend to not like negative and red's the angry color. So we've got 3 positives. And then if we added 2 positives to that, that gets me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this should feel pretty simple, pretty what we're used to. But what if we started having negative numbers mixed in? I could have a positive number being added to a negative number. And this could look like 3 plus -2. At first glance, you might want to say that's 5, but this isn't going to be 5. On our number line, we would start at our 3 just like before, but since it's a negative number, we're going to go towards our negatives or go to the left instead of the right. So we'll go back 1, 2 spots. It's still 2 spots, and we wind up on 1. So 3 plus -2 is 1. And you might notice this is the same problem as 3 minus 2. When we have a positive and a negative sign back to back like this, the negative takes more weight than that positive, so we'll always go with that sign. And then again, if you like the hands-on thing, we've got 3 counters here, and we need to make 2 of those counters, or we would take 2 counters away. Oh, I'm off the screen. For every yellow counter, and then the red counter that goes with it, a red and a yellow cancel out. So I'd remove those. And then a red and a yellow cancel out, and we're left with just 1 yellow. We could also have a positive and a negative, and instead of getting a positive answer, we could get a negative answer. If we had 3 plus -5, and I'm putting parentheses around my negative number so that that plus sign and that minus sign don't run together. If I had 3 plus -5, I'm going to, again, start on my first number, which this one's still 3, and I'm adding -5. So I'm going to the left, I'm going into my negatives over 1, 2, 3, for 5 spots, and that ends me at -2. This is the same thing as 3 minus 5. And I could think about that as I have $3 and I'm running my card and I run $5. Well, I'm -$2. I can't make that transaction, or maybe my card's gonna overdraft. So again, with the counters, because I know some people prefer to have the hands-on, I have 3 plus 5 negatives. A red and a yellow cancel out. Another red and yellow cancel out. And then this third set of red and yellow cancel out and leave me with just 2, but they're the red, so it's 2 negatives. All right, I could have a negative plus a positive. And when I use the counters, this is going to look about the same as doing a positive plus a negative. So I might have -2 plus 4. I'm going to start where my first number is on the number line. So I'd start with -2. And I'm going to add 4 to that. So over 1, 2, 3, 4. And I end on +2. And I could think about that as earlier I spent too much money. I was -2 in my bank, and my bank's being nice and not charging an extra fee. So I spent too much money and I put $4 in my bank. So now that -$dollars is gone and I'm left with $2 left over. And then with my counters, just to show, that's -2 plus +4. These two cancel out, or those 4 cancel out, and we're left with 2 yellows, 2 positive. But just like before, we could have a scenario where we have a negative answer here. And that's going to be if our negative number is the bigger looking number. So -5 plus 2. -5 has the greater absolute value. Absolute value just means how far a number is from 0. So since this is -5, it's 5 spots away from 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots away from 0. And when we're counting those spots, don't actually count the number you're starting with. So don't count the 0, count from the next number, how many spots. All right, so -5 plus 2 will start at -5. We're adding 2, so we're going to go towards our 0. We're going to go to the right, 2 spots, 1 spot, 2 spots, and we get -3. This is the same thing. Well, this is the same thing as 2 minus 5, but we'll get to that next. And then with our counters, I'd have 5 of the reds, 5 negatives, and then 2 positives. Red and yellow cancel out, and I'm left with 3 of the reds. If I was using quarters or something for this, maybe I'm saying heads is positive and tails is negative, so I'd have 3 tails here. Or, yeah, 3 tails, 3 negatives. And then the last thing we could see for just adding when we're doing integers, next week we'll do subtracting. But for just adding with integers, we could add 2 negative numbers. And that might look like -3 plus -2. Just like before, I'm going to start with my first number, so my -3, and I'm going in the direction of the sign of my second number. So this is a negative number, so I'm going to go negative. I'm going to go to the left, and I'm going over 2 spots. So 1, 2 to the left, and I get -5. Another way you could look at this is they're both negative, they're both the same unit. I add these two numbers. If they both have the same sign with an addition sign in between, then you can add those two numbers and they get the sign that both numbers had. So showing that with the counters, I've got 3 negatives plus 2 negatives. And how many do I end with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're all red, so they're negative. All right, I think this was a shorter lesson than I usually do, or maybe it was about the same. But I hope y'all have a good week, and we'll do subtracting with negative numbers next week.